Dr. Evan here. And just a reminder that this is based off the book. So checking out the book. The book, I basically dumped all of my protocols into the book. You can just look at you can get the Kindle book for $5 and then just look at the summary and action tasks at the end of every chapter, and you're going to get 90% of what the book talks about. And I actually give you step by step how to get the labs that you need without a doctor. So if you want to run these labs for yourself, you can, and I take you step by step how to do it, how to run the labs, how to interpret them, and then what you need to take in order to fix the different causes of fatigue that you may have. So please grab the book and then ask your questions here. And when you guys are asking your questions, please put in, what chapter you're on and what you're working on, because we'd love to hear that too. So great. So I just got back from Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. It was amazing, and I wanted to talk about some of the things that I learned. Some of these were reminders, but some of this was new as well. So the first thing that was a reminder for me was breath work. So for those of you who don't know, I have been trained. I did a yoga teacher training back in 2004 at Kripalu, which is in Western Massachusetts, where I lived there for a month. And one part of the yogic path, it's not all just about asanas or basically these postures. It's an 8-fold path that incorporates a lot of great stuff. And one of those things is called pranayama, or breath work, which is doing different breathing techniques to change the energy in your body. And this can do such amazing things for people, and I'll probably go into more specifics in subsequent videos. But that's one of the things that Tony Robbins advocates, is really changing. You can change your psychology by changing your breath. So, he says emotion comes from motion. So you do a lot of movement while you're in these seminars with him, as well as breath work. So there's a specific one that he does, and I'm going to go into that, like I said, later, when I talk about the practice that you can do every morning that can really transform your life. So that's the first thing, breath work. So just an example of that could be, breathing through the nostrils. There's a very relaxing breath called Nadi Shodhana, which is basically you breathe in through one nostril, hold it, and then you breathe out the other nostril, breathe in through that nostril, hold it, and then out the other nostril. And you do this very slowly, and it's amazing for realigning the hemispheres and very relaxing, very good to do if you're having a hard time sleeping. So there's a little tip there. So breath work. Then the next thing is gratitudes. You've heard me talk before about gratitudes and how being grateful, expressing gratitude for 3 things every single day can change the way that you look at the world. You start to look for things to be grateful for. You start to look for small wins, and it starts to change your psychology. And consequently, number 3 that Tony talks about is that life is 80% psychology and 20% skill. So it really is so much about how we look at the world. And really about how we look at the world and how we see our interaction with it. The difference between fear and imagination is really about context, because the body doesn't know the difference between you having a traumatic event in your life and you watching a traumatic event on the tube, on the TV. I mean, why do people get scared when they're watching horror films, right? Because the body thinks that that's actually happening to you. So what if you flip the switch and you create these beautiful things from your imagination that you've already experienced? So that's the next one, which is number 4, which is visioning, which I've heard referred to also as visioneering. So if you want your life to be a certain way, you have to see your life a certain way. You have to feel what it feels like to be in that way. And that's where law of attraction comes in, and that's where the universe starts bringing you all of those things that you want. So, I vision myself in a house that I want, on the Mediterranean or whatever, and I feel what I'm feeling in my body when I have the finances that I'm comfortable with, when I'm in this wonderful relationship with my wife, I have this great relationship with my daughter, my business, this great relationship with my employees and my business. And so that is where you want to go in your mind in order to be able to create it. So part of this practice that Tony has you do in the morning is this combination of breath work, plus the gratitudes, some meditation, and the visioning. And so I would recommend every single day, if you haven't started the gratitude practice, start the gratitude practice. It's very simple. 3 things. There's a Harvard study on this. It's very important. 3 things that you're grateful for. And then the visioning. How do you want your life to be? What would that look like if you reached all of your goals? Where would you be living? What would you be wearing? What would your relationship be like? What would the interactions be with the people around you? So vision that, feel that feeling of accomplishment, and it will be actualized. I truly believe that. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. Leave your comments in the below the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Share it with your friends. And I'll be back soon for more with Dr. Evan. Have a great day.